Let's see. I know it's timing is completely spontaneous. It wasn't planned or wasn't timed, this chat. So I know it's probably not a good time to do it on a Friday lunchtime. So not many, I know. Apparently, as far as TikTok goes, it's the worst time to go live because there's no people on. But whatever, it's irrelevant. It's not about that. It's about sharing. Which is, I'm going to upload this to YouTube. I'm going to upload the video to YouTube because it's about sharing, which has been observed, or not observed, seen, however you want to phrase it. But and I did mention it going through the collective, that the mental body, the mind, seemed to be surfacing. So all these chatter of the mind and all that sort of thing started coming up, and thoughts. So I saw a lot of people complaining about being, being psychically attacked and negative thoughts and this and that and not their thoughts, but none of the thoughts are yours in the first place. Anyone, any guru, anyone in non-dual will tell you, you don't have, they're not your thoughts. That's the story. That's listening to them. That's the illusion. That's the me or the I. So, after listening to much of this, and following, the gurus and their non-duality and not comparing them, but if you listen close enough and you understand it and you've had enough glimpses, there's a difference between what the gurus are telling you and the so-called radical non-duality. There is a big difference, actually. They're not the same, because the old one is where you are becoming source. It's the me again, as they say. It's the me or I becoming the divine, all, everything. Because this is it. It's illusion. Everything in it. It's actual illusion. So as long as there's still a me or an I, a separate one is perceiving, then it is not non-duality. That's pretty obvious. It's clear. So a while ago, anyone that followed me on TikTok will know, I started this, and things started falling away, and then the me was horrified. It actually is the death of me. True. It's very true. And at that final moment, the me pulled back. In fear, obviously, of its demise. There's no more me, there's no more separation, there's no more illusion. So anyway, long story, the me came back, the whole me I came back even more strong in the mind, whatever. But in the last couple of months, it was pulled back to non-duality again, proper non-duality now. There's nobody, there is no one, there's no one, there's no, anyway, holographic, whatever. That was seen anyway. One of the glimpses said, this is a hologram, and there's no one in the bodies. They're just energy, forms of energy. You can see straight through them. So there was no more interest now to carry on with the illusion, because that is the seeker, me. I'm going to get there. There's so many dimensions. You're not it. You're not source. You're not God. You've got to get there. You've got to be good. You've got to earn it. You've got to this. You've got to go. And if you pull back and you watch, step back now from what was going on, feeding the illusion of feeding this me and I, and you stop listening to the thoughts, you observe them. And I did warn people that the mental body was coming up, and it was very well noticed here. So the mental body was coming up with all its patterns and all its things. And if you now, from the observer point of view, watch them, you'll be aware, very, very clearly aware that those are, all programmed. Everything is learned. Anything the parrot has is just learned. So that was your grandmother criticizing you. That's where you got the critical thing. This was your mother. This was your sister, your cousin. You're aware where those voices actually come from. It's very mechanical. And listening to Paul Hederman, he's very right, actually. It's a failing system. If you observe the so-called me, this talker, the thinker, the thoughts, you'll see it's a failing system. Now, being on the spiritual path for a couple of years, and seriously, and doing this thing and the light worker and New Earth, and wow, you were on this whole thing, you thought this higher self is just the me again, pulling another, it's another version up. It's the same illusion. It's still the same one, pretending it's a higher self. There isn't any separate one. That's the point. There's no one. If there's anyone there, or a me, or a higher self, or anything else, or this and that, is separation. It's duality. There's only one that exists. So you already know then, okay, this is... But stepping back and starting watching those that are very much still identified with the character and the body, and that's what I say. You don't identify with the body if you're listening to any of the thoughts and what's happening with story. But you'll see that it keeps repeating the same thing. It's always promising, this is going to happen. Oh, you just have to release that. You just have to do that. Eventually, this one copped onto this. If you're listening to this channeling and higher self, you'll cop onto you'll see through that. There's always something. Now, if it's unconditional love, all is source, there's already a clue. All is it, nothing else, right? There's nothing that exists. And if it's unconditional, why do you keep having to jump through hoops? You've got to clear that. You just have to do this. You just have to do that. And the abundance is coming. So many followers and readers I was watching. It's coming. It's coming. You just got to do that. And it's always, you just got to clear that. And you just have to release that. And always one more thing you have to do to get it, to deserve it, or to achieve something. You'll start seeing through the game that this higher self, or any self, is telling you that you just have to keep doing this. And if you understand unconditional love source, what do you got to do to become? There's no worthy. You're not already unworthy. So why do you have to jump through hoops? So it's a never-ending fix, the self, which doesn't exist. This illusionary character. You're forever having to jump through hoops and clear this, and then it's your ancestors, and then it's this. This did it for years. When you start non-duality, you realize there isn't a separate one. There's no separate one. That is it. And the thoughts on it. So if you start paying attention to the thoughts and watch them, and when you've done a lot of work here, for how many years there was meditations and releasing and clearing and chakras and that and all of this. I mean, you're right, big time into it. You started sort of saying that, yeah, this is you're getting leaded on. Just do that, and just got to know that's just this one you still have to. You do, and then it's coming, and then you're going to get, these promises always of something better. Something's coming, another dimension, another timeline. You will start copping on to this is a failing system. You're being led by the illusionary self. It's another dimension. It's just there. It's never here. You haven't got it. You're not there. You listen to non-duality, you'll see this is what it's doing. It's going to keep you from realizing you already are that. It doesn't exist. It can call itself a higher self, or any self, or this, that, or whatever, any story. It's what it does. It makes the illusion the story. So when you step back enough and you stop listening to the blah, 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 then you'll see the patterns, and you've done enough releasing and clearing. Here was another giveaway. All of a sudden, these patterns, you've done so much releasing. And even Joe Dispenza, here's something, that's why I want to share this, something to notice if you're observant. Joe Dispenza, now the body-mind, it takes 30-40 days to reprogram the mind. If you see, because you believe it's yours, you're claiming it then. You're claiming them as your thoughts, well then you've got the problem. So if you step back and realize, first of all, it's not yours. You don't have a body, you don't have a mind, any of that stuff. It's trying to pinpoint you as the doer. Then you're responsible, and then it's your karma. Ooh, it's always you see. You that doesn't exist. That's the illusionary one. The separate one. The thought. So you're always jumping through hoops, right? But as Joe Dispenza says, so you believe, right, you can cure this. This one was very much for that. Meditated every day. Every day. Big time. Religiously, like an hour or two. Did my affirmations. But the minute you stop doing these affirmations and your frequency, that's why I say you've got to get a frequency. It's always something you've got to get. And it's interesting. This self, this me, I, you always have to do something. Higher self, whatever you want to call it. Smaller self, it's still a self. It's a me. That's the illusionary one. There isn't two. But it's going to make you jump. So now you're jumping through hoops, and because now you feel better, everything's wonderful. Nothing lasts, as you'll notice. So you do these things, and you do this. Now it's supposed to reprogram the mind. It shouldn't come back. You've done 3 or 4 years of meditations and being in this piece and that and holding that energy. How come it fades? If you can reprogram the body mind, as Joe Dispenza says, right? And you've done a good job. Why does it resurface? If you have any control, this is your body, your mind, whatever else. You'll be, if the cracks start appearing that you realize you don't, because this one has done a huge amount of work, and it always has some other work. And next minute you've reprogrammed that body mind big time, because you've been doing it every freaking day, holding that energy, that space, that frame of mind, the positive air you can think of. But yet, years later, stuff and patterns of behavior. Now you stop meditating. You got into non-duality because you're not the meditator, you're not the doer. You see through the illusion of this self and higher self and do that and this is coming and it's just another timeline and it's just this. It's leading you around the bush. It's leading you, yeah. That is the illusion. It's leading you around, keeping you distracted. Look here, go there, do that, do that. Clear this, my ancestor's calling you. Someone's da 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 da. The noise starts becoming less noisy. So their voices, the talking, the game starts fading, and you start seeing through this. Like I say, now I'm just watching these readers. I've been telling the same story. I've been listening to the same readings for over a year. It's coming, it's this and that, and then it's just that, and then it's just this, and this one said, and your ancestor did that, and you know, oh no, it's another timeline, and we just did that. Always some story, but it's never in control. Never. Then you're going to see. If you're observant enough, you'll see you have no control over the body or the mind. It's got nothing to do with you. You have no control, period. That means what's happening in this body mind has nothing to do with you. It can't be you. That is very, very clear to see. If you are paying attention and observant and have done enough work like here, so much meditations and clearing and chakras and this and that, and you hold that energy, whatever. Yet, you stop meditating and you stop listening to the blah, blah, blah. All this in the hold in the body, it's resurfaced. Behavior and things have resurfaced. So it's just a story. You'll notice it goes in a circle. As they say, it's a hamster wheel. You're never getting off the hamster wheel. And then it's that. And then, oh, this is coming around. This is actually it's like a program. You can see through it. You can see the faults. You can see the faulty program. This delusionary self is a small little circle. It goes in circles because this behavior, certain personality traits or behaviors that this one had a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't know, whatever, they haven't been practiced here. They haven't surfaced in the last 5 years because you've been meditating and doing this affirmation. So there's no ways you can say the brain and body was not reprogrammed, because it frickin' was. Yet you've reprogrammed all that, but it surfaces again. So whose body and whose mind is it? It's pretty clear to see. If you just be the observer. And don't buy into the delusions of this. This is what it's doing. It's keeping you in the mire. That is the illusion, hamster wheel. The thought's a thing, you're none of it. Doesn't exist. And if you listen to enough real non-duality, radical, there's no me, I there. There's no observer either. That's it. Then you'll start seeing the faulty system. Like here, you're clear and you realize, well, hang on a second. This body-mind was really reprogrammed. It's been reprogrammed daily for like months, years, and it's done everything from this, that. And then you start, so once you've had the glimpses and you see there is no separate one, you are not the body, and it'll make it very clear to you. You'll stop paying attention to what the body does and what the mind does. Just have no interest in it. And you'll have no interest in the carrots, and you've got to get another dimension, and you've got to go here. Really? You've got to earn your way to go home? Where you really are that? You know what I mean? And jump through this hoop, and jump through that hoop. And then you see you have no control over what it does. It claims afterwards it does, and science has proven it doesn't either, because science will prove that the things happen a few seconds before the thought comes. I did that. The action has already taken place. Now, even science is seeing through the illusion that there's a someone that has control over this life and this body and this absolute bullshit. That's been seen clearly here, and this is why this one stopped. You'll see I haven't been on TikTok, and I haven't shared any more videos on the awakened path, light worker path, because I started seeing through the illusion physically as well. Yes, when you stopped claiming that it is your thoughts and your body and your mind, absolutely, and gave it no attention, the illusion starts to fall away. You see, you stop listening. There is no separate me, I. It's so, you'll even hear it's distance. You realize it's distance. You realize it's there. Someone saying, blah, 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 the story going on. And it actually gets further and further away because you're not giving it any energy. So it's not loud. It doesn't feel like it's in. And you'll know if you do your self-inquiry that there's no body, there's no physical body. Even science says there's no physical matter. So the illusion will not fall away if you keep chasing any self, higher self, smaller self, a cousin, an ancestor. It's a distraction. So I thought I'll share that with you. It's very clear. And this was interesting now because even Joe Dispenza, see, it's still a claim. It doesn't last, these claims. It'll chase you, and then it's that, and then it's this, and then it's that. And you will be going around in the illusion, there will be decades, but there is not even any time. As I say, it's a hamster wheel. Because this stuff is resurfaced when you've reprogrammed the body-mind for 5 years straight. So the minute you stop parroting and doing your affirmations and doing it every day, it disappears. So it's really only what's happening now. There's no time in the past, you see. So when you realize also there's no interest to try and fix the failing system, because first of all, you're feeding the illusion. So there's no interest to try and change the thoughts and release that. This is what it tries to get you to do. If you release that, it'll be better. You see, if you ignore it, it actually gets better, it goes away. So you're actually feeding the... Anyways, I thought I'll share that. Share that finding in a way with you. Listening to enough of this, non-dual speakers, having glimpses, seen it, all these kind of things, it's very evident. And science is even saying so, but people don't want to hear that. Yeah, there is no frickin' you. That is the illusion that's going to keep you chasing your own tail. It's going to keep you jumping over hoops and another dimension, another timeline, another this, another that, and just clear that ancestor, and then you'll manifest. And how come, if it was in such control, how come things didn't work as you wanted it? How come you haven't got your manifestation now? If it was all powerful and I'm this and I'm sorcerer, how come this so-called me, self, I, higher self hasn't, you're not getting it? Of course it's got no power. Because it's only reacting. Now react that way, source, you got to just, exactly. If it had any power, how come you got to trust the universe? So who's this higher self that isn't then source or the universe? Do you start seeing through the flaws, the cracks here? It's telling you, just put your wishes out there and then the universe will do it for you. But it's claiming to be source in the universe too. No, there's no present moment. There's no you. That's the point. Sorry if I'm laughing, you'll get it. You listen to enough of this. Okay, the only way you can kind of get around this, as the gurus do, is detach from the body-mind. Detach. But then there's still an observer. But that's when it starts to you got to get some distance between the so-called you, the mind-body. Understand everything that's happening, its actions, the doing, the body. Everything that the body is doing, saying, is not you. Has nothing to do with you. It's automatically happening. So, ignore it. It will carry on. It still gets up and goes to the toilet. If you pay attention, it does it anyway. You don't do anything. You don't think when you're going to go, you don't have any say over the body or control over the body, actually. It's wishful thinking. That's what I say. It is very interesting. So this is why we kind of saw through that thing. Well, when you got the glimpses, you definitely see through it. It tells you very clearly you are not that. You never were the body or the mind, the character, this story. So yes, how this one saw that back then was the guru path. But then you've also seen through that now, because it's still that I am source, I am everything. No, that's still it. It wants to be. It's trying to be it's a thought, or it's part of everything, because there's no separate from it, but it wants to be it. You know what I mean? It's trying to make itself as like the divine. There we are. I'm still there. Look, ooh. That's what I'm saying. If you listen to them, they'll tell you the guru path is the same thing. There's still someone there who's an observer. There's no observer, because there's still separation. There's It's very clear when you start watching this, and you'll do see the body just gets up. You don't plan it. All of a sudden, the body's going to get up and start to walk in. It wants to do that. Science will tell you. There's a thought afterwards. It claims everything afterwards. I want to toy. I'm going, as though it was doing it or thought of it. There's no it. So there's seeing through the failed system here. It's falling apart nicely, this thing, because you're watching these. When you detach enough, and you're not giving it any attention, it's just there. It's doing whatever it's doing. Blah, blah, blah. Its thoughts are blah, blah, blah. And yeah, right. You know it. You know it's an illusion. So it has no power anymore, because you're not giving any thoughts any energy. You don't even react to the thoughts anymore, because you just know it's bollocks, actually. So that's where it can affect. You see, this is what it claims. When this is the only thing the so-called illusionary self has, is the reaction. That's why it tells you how you react is important. Don't react, people. That's because it has no power. It is doing fuck all, excuse the French. It is only claiming it can only respond. It knows how it responds. That can affect it. So how the body responds to any shit, if it's negative, that's how it affects. It has no effect, you see. Hi. Hi. Yes, this is why I'm explaining why I'm not on and I've quit that path, because you realized, first of all, there is no two. And they tell you that. Non-duality, oneness, there's no two. So there's no observer and nothing. There's no this and someone and nothing. There's no, you know, there's no two. There's no experience of any other. So a higher self is the same thing. It is it trying to get out of this as it's dissolving, the Maya, the illusions falling apart. It's trying to hang on. It's trying to keep itself relevant. So now it's created a higher self. That's all. Because it's crumbling. Source is returning. It's the one is waking up or waking itself up. But now the I, the illusionary I that separated itself, oh, I exist, I am someone, bullshit, you don't even exist, show me where it is. It doesn't have any control over the body, that's freaking clear. It doesn't have any control over anything, it's clear if you pay attention. And as I say, this has been pretty clear here when you've done so much work and meditation and reprogramming and years and every day of doing this, yet this resurfaces again. Patterns of behavior and traits that were a couple of years ago. When this one is religiously brought into that and cleared and this and that and released and plenty. All great. But when you watch and you just observe what's happening, you'll see, as they say, it's a faulty system. Okay. So it's just programming. The body has, that's the programming in the body, and there we are. That's it. But it claims everything. Anyway, and as they say, even the guru thing, that was seen as well. Then there's you being everything. You see, that's what it's trying to do. It doesn't want to dissolve. It wants to still be this. And now I'm a guru. I am distracted from the body, mind. There's still an I there. There's still, you see, an observer. There's still a separation there. There's still me being aware of, you know. Anyway. Or having to not do this or that's going to come. Exactly. I mean, it has no control. It's pretty obvious. If you have to do that, meditate with it, to keep peaceful, it has no control. There is no control. It's an illusion. You've got to jump through hoops. And that was clear now when you're not doing this every day, whatever, if you're not practicing and doing affirmations or keeping your thing frequency and positive every day, it falls away. It starts to go. It's very interesting. So those patterns and habits, they're just suppressed, really. So it's just the me and I trying to survive, not return to source. By telling you it's got another timeline, another this to keep going and jump through hoops, and you got to clear that ancestry thing, or that won't happen, and you got to do this, and you have to now raise your frequency. I mean, everything. It's keeping you like this in a wheel. And then, oh no, you see, when it can't control it, now it'll come up with the story. The cycle returns. Now there's, as I say, 5 years later, this behavior is surfacing again. It has no power and control because it is an illusion itself. That's it. There is no one that has any power and control. This is all just happening. That's very, very obvious to see, actually. And now it's apparent here. And I'm watching these readers and saying the same thing. This one was, you're just going to do that. You're just going to, it'll keep you so freaking busy. You're always going to be doing something if you hadn't seen 5 years of this. Ascension and and they do that and clear this and release that. Who's the person? There's non-dual, not two. Who is the one that, is always having to do this and release that and clear that? Is clearly not it, isn't it? Because if it was it would be, you see, why? If you are source and God, the one claiming the higher self, or me, myself, or you think you are, whatever, Susan, Mary, Jane, right? If you were truly the source, why would you have to do anything to be what you already are? Why would you have to jump through hoops and release your ancestors and clear that? You have all the control. Why do you have to do anything? Release, be, sorry, this, that, forgive, jump, be a better person, be anything, you see. So it's very clear that you are not that. The one that has no power, that's making you run around in circles. It doesn't want to dissolve, and it knows, if you listen to them, how it keeps itself alive is by keeping itself relevant. And by making itself a higher self, it's making itself very relevant. Oh, look, listen to me, and we're going to get there. You're going to ascend, and you're going to go back to source, and you're going to have to jump through that. And when you get to this dimension, it is keeping you on it is the hamster wheel. Any separate one, if there's any experience of a person, a being, you're still in the Maya, in the illusion. When there's no sense of anyone, you are not in it. When there's no observer or me and source or this, and you are, that's it. So it's very clear. I thought I'll share that. This is why we are not sharing any more of that I stopped sharing on my page, and I said, because it's very clear. You know it's an illusion, you've seen through it. Yeah, there's no I am, there's no any I. There's no I at all. The me, I disappears, gone. That is that. It's trying to keep itself alive as the whole cookie crumbles. The one is waking itself up and saying, no, it doesn't want to quit the game. It wants to survive. So it's created a higher self and a this self and a that and another dimension. You got to watch it. Just pay attention. What you got to keep doing. And then, no, your abundance is coming. It's coming. You've done something wrong. You're not doing it right. You're not saying enough affirmations. You're not lining up to your things. You're not always doing something, are you? You see, who is this you? Pay attention. Pay attention. Who is this you that has no control over the body? And science will tell you that. And its thoughts, the body, the action is done before the thoughts actually arise. They're not your thoughts. That's also very, very clear if you pay evidence to that. When you have seen through the illusion and you start paying attention to the failed system, and you realize, as the awakened ones will tell you, that it is not you. And you'll recognize the thoughts, and you'll recognize the games, and it plays the good cop, bad cop. You listen to enough. Yeah, whatever, yeah. Anything. There isn't an it. There's only nothingness, as they say, the real non-duality. There's no space and time. There's no existence of anything else. Even an awareness that you are anything, because you don't need to be. There's only the self. There's only that. There's only this. So yeah, there's no more. There's nowhere to go. There's no other. As I say, there is. If you pay enough attention, you realize, there is no. This is how it's keeping you distracted. There's a dimension you've got to get to in a higher frequency. Meanwhile, it's right here now. You're realizing it. It doesn't want you to realize you are it. That it doesn't exist. The one that's making you jump through hoops, that is the one you should be questioning. The one that claims it's a me, a higher self, or any self, or anything, that's it. And then you'll start seeing, like I said to you, it has no power. Nothing. It actually has a defect it's claiming it doesn't have. The only thing, as I say, the only effect it can do, is what I told you, is the response, the individual. But it has no effect of anything. So if it was source, why is it telling you you've got to just give it up to source? So who's this one that says, you got to, and then source will deliver, and you got to hope, or no, then you haven't done it properly. Anyway, there we are. I thought I'd share that with you because it's been seen here, and I'm watching the behavior of this body, and I thought this is very interesting because this body hasn't behaved like that for 5 years. It's not in a stress or threat situation, and every now and then it will respond aggressively and fearfully like it was, because it had to a lot of trauma in this body. So it could respond, aggressively, but it's just a reaction. Here, the reaction is just coming for no reason. No justification, no trigger as such, But yet the amount of work that was done in the reprogramming, you see. So it's literally what happens right now. If you want to, that's I said, it makes you work. If you were that, why do you have to work to do anything? To achieve this. Here, you have to work. If you're going to sit every day and meditate every day and do this and say affirmations and stay, you've got to effort to stay happy, effort to keep your frequency up. Something's kind of ding, 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 ding. Why? If you're it, why would you have to effort to be the self? Why do you need to effort? If you are unconditional love, why is there so much effort to be what you are? You see, don't you question it? Start listening to it. You're seeing through it. There isn't a point, that's what I'm saying. I shared enough of non-dual thing speakers, especially what they call radical non-dual speakers. You won't get it, first of all, because you're so convinced that you have always been doing whatever the body's done, and it's your fault and you're responsible. No, there's not a person here. It has no power. It's never been responsible for diddly squat. That's very obvious. Sorry. So, as I say, life is happening. Nothing, and it has nothing to do with you. It's just happening. You see, the only one that has got something to do with it's how the body responds. Its reaction. So yeah. Anyway, but that say you start seeing through it. If you are that, right, unconditional love, just logically think about it. If you are unconditional love, why do you have to work at it, put so much effort in? If you see, you thinking you're a body. Why does the body? Because it's clearly not it. You see, whatever's trying to be unconditional love clearly isn't it. Claims to be source, but then it tells you, oh no, just ask. But so if it claims to be all powerful, right, it would manifest exactly what it wants. So here we are, we're going to get that. And then when you don't, it's you didn't do something right. You need to get your frequency more in tune. You need to do this. You need to, and then when it does, then you just got to ask universe and let go. Have no expectations. Yes, because it doesn't have any power for this me, I, myself, I, and a body. Anyone in a body thinks they have control. You don't. Yeah. No, it's part of source. It's an illusionary entity that doesn't actually exist. It's a energy, believes it's a separate person. It's trying to actually, that's what it wants. It wants to become a real entity, or source, a real thing. It's trying to play God, but it isn't the whole thing. It's just a part of it. It's a piece. It's like the word John. Its wording John is no difference. This thing has no power, no real existence. Yeah. No, there's no we. That's the difference. We are not all. There is no we. There is no two. There is no other. That's what it's trying to keep itself alive. There isn't any other. There's no me. There's no we. There's only it. It will tell you that when you get your glimpses and get there. No, there's no humans either. You see, they're just forms. There's no real world either. You will see that. There's no real world. There's nothing. It's an illusion, as they say. It's a Maya. Listen to them. I tell you, whatever's happening is right now. So there's no world out there. What's happening right now is a body talking to a laptop and other bodies. You know what I mean? It's appearing as other bodies listening or responding, and it's talk. This is really all. That's it. That's existence, but it's completely not really. There's no substance. It's hollow. It's completely, like a dream. It's you can do this through it. There's no real world, real bodies, real anything that exists. It's like your dream. Yeah, totally. There's no humans. Yeah, it's appearing as a form of a body which disappears. Even that, it's like just appears. There's no like this thing you experiencing time and the body still stays. It's like gone. Poof. So that's what I'm saying. As long as there's a belief that it exists, it's very tricky. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just sharing what was noticed here, because doing that whole path and doing that and detaching from the body mind, because then the old way, they were telling you self-inquiry, I'm not the body mind. You tried all that. But who's saying I'm not the body mind? The same one. Listen to Paul Hederman if you want to get a bit of an understanding. The probably easiest way is to start with Paul Hederman and non-duality, then head on to real non-duality, radical non-duality. because then it's a bit more clear to grasp what's going on. Okay. But what's going on is there's an illusionary energy it's true, it pops, that claims it's a separate being, and this is the one that keeps the illusion and the so-called Maya, you experiencing the dream and separation and bodies over there, that's it. As long as it remains and it has energy, it doesn't, dissolve or starve its energy, you stay in an illusion. So it's created its higher self and everything else and a whole new story to keep going. So it's just changed the program. But if you observe, you'll see the program is very faulty. When you just stop listening to it and you totally know it's not true, there is no separate one, then it's over there, and then you can start seeing really how faulty the program is, and you start seeing the loopholes through it. You start seeing the loopholes through it. You really do. And this one did a lot of, when it woke up, so-called woke up, in this dream, we're awakening, we're ascending. It was this and that, and out of bodies, and astral projections, and all exciting, all of these things, did all that. And then you got to the non-dual part, and that was just, you knew straight away, the first teaching you heard, there's not two. Then it really kicks in, there's not two. Then you think, well, hang on a second, that means I don't exist. This I does not exist. Bingo, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. Starve this, don't acknowledge the I, and it starves its energy, and this is what happened here, and the illusion starts fading, and then you start seeing, and oh my gosh, there never was, and you're not the character, you're not the body. The character remains with the body. Like as this one's discovered, all of a sudden these traits have resurfaced, and it was not from lack of so-called programming or any of that. So all of these attempts to reprogram the self and the body and all these things, the minute you stop doing something, it hasn't got actually. So then you start really realizing how powerless this so-called me, self, whatever, me, self, I, whatever thing is actually. It's interesting. So I thought I'd share that with you. So it will keep you on the hamster wheel going in circles, looking for everything, because there isn't anything. And it wants to keep you looking, that's the point. And you keep having to achieve, but that's when you should get suspicious. Why? If it's telling you you are this and you are source, why do you have to achieve what you already are? And why come you're not unconditional love? And then it's always got a problem. The body did it, you did it. You're not doing it properly. You need to do another, how many affirmations and raise your frequency and then do that. And now your answer, story. That's the illusion, the Maya. It creates stories. It's a story. It makes a story out of everything. The thoughts, the life, there's no past. So when the thoughts of yesterday appear, the minute you wake up, watch the program download. It's very interesting. The thoughts of yesterday appear. So it tries to make a continuum. But meanwhile, it's a thought appearing now. There was no yesterday. So it's giving you a story. Oh, yesterday, so you can continue, you see. And if you ignore it, because it wants to create a story, my past. So now you'll start getting thoughts of a past and a this and a that. This is how it creates continuum, time, a story, as they say. If you listen to them, it does. And you wake up and it starts downloading yesterday's thoughts. The minute you realize, you watch, if you're observant. Because it now wants you to carry on with what happened yesterday as a story. Just ignore it. When you realize there's no time, you realize that all things are appearing now. All thoughts, there's no tomorrow, there's no past, there's no future. They're arriving now as it's appearing as a past story or a future story or whatever's happening. But there's only now, as I tell you. You can't be out of the now. There's nowhere else to be. You see, the so-called be present, be now, who's going to be that? There's only the now. It never moves, it never changes. You can't not be present in the present or in the now. It's completely delusional, this me, myself, I, whatever it wants to claim. But it's interesting to watch it. When you start seeing the cracks and when you see through it, it's an illusion, you'll start seeing the cracks in the system, and it's actually mechanical. Now, Paul Henneman, who does his non-dual sort of teaching, but the old way, he's done the old, I did that as well back here, the body. It did you see, it claims, look at this, automatically it claims an I. This body went the non-dual way, okay? There's no I that did it, it just happened. This body went on this non-dual path. The original gurus with the old path, though, when you see, there's still a you withdraw your attention. Now you become the consciousness watching, whatever. But then you'll start seeing. You see? Interesting. That there is no bodies, there's no one in the bodies. All this kind of thing, yeah. It'll tell you. You never were. You're feeding the illusion. You never were this body, this character. You identified with it. You never were it, you see. And that's what it'll even, when you start falling away. There is no dark, there is no light. There's no dark, there's no light. And just what is. There's no other. Nothing's actually happening. It creates a story. That's a story. Nothing's happening. It just arises. Energy is moving. There's no story to it. There's no anything to it. It claims everything as a story. It's a doer. It's a that. It's a this. Anyway, there we are. We shared that. It's very interesting when you start noticing, and you just, you're not buying into its separation or its story or whatever it did that. There's no levels. There's no we. There's no anyone. That's it. It tries to hang on. It'll try and create it, and then it creates the one that's watching. Now I am the observer now. You see, it's still it. It's now going to become the observer of the body, or observed, as they say. Listen, watch. Enough that have done this will tell you. Even I saw through that. Paul Henneman saw through that. I was like, so now it's playing. It's the observer of the body. There's still two. You see, there's it observing, and there's the so-called character or body. There's only the oneness. There's no separation between it and the body and whatever. Whatever. So there we are. I'll share that with you. This is why this one has stopped doing this light worker story and everything, because when you I started seeing through the, first of all, the thoughts, and then you were watching these and you were like, you started realizing they're coming up as a distraction, and this past and ancestry, it's a distraction, it's a story, it's all distraction to keep you. And then it's just that, and there's always one more thing you have to do, and one more timeline, one more dimension you must jump. Believe whatever you wish. There we are. Believe whatever you wish. Whatever you wish to believe. It's irrelevant. This is a story going nowhere for no one. No one's doing it anyway. It's just, But there we are. Delusion, as long as you feed a me, I, anything, there's no other one. It will not fall away, you see. But there is no anyone in control. There is no I, a me, an observer, or anyone. There isn't. It becomes more and more obvious. Okay. Nothing. It is. It already is, you see. That's what it's trying to tell you. It's trying to tell you you're already not it. You have to be it. You have to do, you see, that's when you get suspicious. It's always telling you you've got to do something to be it. Who's this? You already are. There's nothing. There is no you. There's no, you see, to do anything. Who's the one that's supposed to do something? You see, what must we do? It'll tell you something. Yeah. Who's we? Yeah, it's amazing. It's not. Yeah, something you'll understand. Yeah, you can't. I don't know. As I say, But if you listen to them, eventually, maybe that resonates, you know. But get some distance so you can start seeing through the faulty system. Yes, the only way, I suppose, now, if you want to start, get some idea, there's a you, the body, is to ignore it. So don't take ownership of any actions the body does. Not an easy feat, trust me, it puts up a stink. And any thoughts, completely just, absolutely, that's it. Which, as they say, the non-gurus, it's not true, but it's a dissociation. The way the gurus do it is they dissociate with it, the body-mind. You see, so you're starving that energy, that illusionary self of energy and of attention. So it'll fizzle out. You're not feeding the energy. This is what it's trying to get you to do always. It's always you, see? Everything's about you, we noticed. Me, or you, or self, or something. It's always it. It's always about it. It's giving it energy, acknowledging it, feeding it. There is no it. Just understand that. There's only one. Oneness, wholeness, nothingness, nothing. Let's just say nothing. So, anything it claims to be is now trying to be something other than it, you see. It really is. But it's only it. So it's an illusionary claiming. It's an illusionary claiming of being something else. Yeah. All right. See, there we are. There's no earth, there's no people, there's no world. It's a dream, as they say in the Maya. It's the one that creates it. So as long as it is here, there'll be a world and there's people and there's something to do. It's creating this illusion. If you starve it, and as those, let's say radical non-duals will tell you, oh, there's nobody, nothing's happening, no world, nothing needed to do, no one, you know, it's just what's appearing, like now. So like the only thing that exists right now is a body sitting on a chair talking to a screen, and other bodies, which is still it, you know, let's say interacting with the screen. That's the entire existence. How cool is that? For no one and no thing. But there's no one and no thing that exists in it, you see. So no person, there's no, and no thing, which means no bodies, because there aren't any. It is just forming. It appears as a body, then the body fades away, then it appears as a flower, and that goes down. It's a pop-up, like a instant pop-up. There we are. There we are. No one, no thing, no bodies, no earth, no world to save, nothing to do. That's all part of the dream. Anyway, but it's creating. So you can see it's created a whole new story now in Dream to keep itself relevant and to stay alive. It's now got a higher self and a new earth and another dimension, and it's like really trying to avoid its disillusionment or its death. Its death means it is now no thing again. There's only no thing, no one, no thing. It wants to carry on playing, I've got a life and another life and reincarnate. There's no one to even reincarnate. There never was anybody, you see. This is how it's trying to keep itself relevant. Now I've got past lives and future lives and this life and da-da-da-da-da. And there's not even an it in the first place. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't exist. It's trying to keep itself relevant. It doesn't want to return to nothingness, to source. It doesn't want to just be part of, it's not happy. If you listen to the non-dualists, it's true. It's not happy with just what is. So it wants to now create its own little separate existence. So it's dreaming, what you call the dream, the Maya of a world and its life. And everything that appears in it is it. And if you notice on the awakened path, it's exactly true. Because everything is a reflection of the so-called it. Its personality, its behavior, everything is a projection, you see, is reflecting. Everything in it it's illusion, is it actually? It's, you know, it's the mountain. That's what they say. All, it's like everything is the self. That's it. It's creating everything. It's creating this whole Maya, the earth. I'm the mountain. I'm the tree. I'm everything. You know. Yeah. It's playing. It's trying to play as though it is God, really. But it doesn't exist. It's trying very hard though. It has no power if you pay attention. You won't give it any energy. Then you'll be like, oh yeah, no, this is the. You start seeing through the. You see through the cracks, and you're like, that's not really here. It's an illusion. You are seeing it because you're still in the dream. Anyway, there we are. All right, peeps. I'll share that with you. That's when this is when it started falling through, when you're listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza and you've done so much of that reprogramming and work and affirmations and for years, so that then it doesn't tie up. You think, hang on a second, if that took 30, 40 days to reprogram it and change the whole thing, but you've been doing it, like living that for years, how come then it reverts back to an old pattern? Come on, hello. And how come it doesn't manifest exactly what it wants? And how come you have to, if you're unconditional love, do something to be what you are and get what you are? You know? Who's trying to get it? It can't be it. Trying to get oneness. I'm trying to get back to source. Who's the one trying to get back to source if you're supposed to be source? How can you try and get back to yourself? That is the illusionary one. All right. It's telling you that you've got a past and you didn't do this and you didn't manifest properly and you didn't. It's going to keep you on that hamster wheel, as they say. Never ending cycle. Cycle. That's why I told you, oh, it's been at it a million years. Yes, yeah. I've had millions of lives. It doesn't want to return to the oneness. Clearly. That means the end of it, as they say. So it's going to keep you on a journey, looking for the next thing, oh, that, new earth, or this or that. There we are. It has no intention of returning to itself, to being, you know, just nothing, no one. It wants to play everything, be, as I say, play God. There's no God, but yeah, there we are. All right, people. There we are. I'll share. So those that, I'll put it up on YouTube. Those that wondered why this one stopped sharing these things. There's no I. And there's still an I there because it's an I and a hoop. There's still separation. When there's no a hoop in you or anything in you, oh, we're there. There we are. There's no one to wake up. That's the one who is in the illusion. If it was it didn't have to wake up. It has no power and control. It's a complete illusion. All right, lovelies. Share that with you. Lots of love. I hope that helped in any way or made you question now. Who is this one? Oh, it's unconditional love. And I'm going back to unconditional love. And I am going to do that to get there. And I have to do this. And I have to raise my frequency and stand on my head and do affirmations and eat only this. And yes, first of all, you're not a body. There's never two. You see, it and source. Unconditional is always that. Be aware. All right, there is no one and no thing. Straight away. That says it all. There's no one and no thing. So who's this one claiming to do something and be something? And you're sure not the body. Think about it logically. If you were the body, are you the body? No. You don't have any control over the body. You're not taking part. You're not feeling like the body. So you're not the body. You're not the thoughts. What are you then? What are they? Just appearances. There's no see, you're seeing them as separate. There's no, they're just a thought, a tree, or not, but yeah, they just, there we are. Now there's a word, now there's a tree, now there's this, you know, pairing. Anyway, there we are. Interesting observations here, because now, yeah, you say it's so interesting when you start seeing more and more, because here now there's still a me, obviously. It hasn't popped. It did, so you can see, that's how you can see its reaction. When the final thing was about to go boof and it was the end of it, it shat itself. It pulled back. It is terrified of dying. It doesn't want to. Look at its thing of dying. It doesn't exist. It wants to keep itself alive. It doesn't exist in the first place. That's why it creates new lives and past lives and future lives. It doesn't even have a life because it doesn't exist. It's an illusionary being. But when it came to actually dissolving, actually, let's say, the end of actually it, where it just says it wants to return to source, when it actually came to that, it pulled back at the final pop, big time. It was terrified. It came back with a vengeance, the thought and fear. Because it knew it was the end of it. It knew it was its death. It didn't want to die. You see? There we are. Yeah, of course it can. But I'm saying you are creating your own illusion. It's creating its own illusion. This is its Maya. But you're still in the Maya. It can create, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, blah, 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 blah. It's creating its own illusion here. You're still in it. There's not two. So just don't be any misconceptions that it wants to return to source. That's where it's trying to go. It's sure as hell not trying to do that. That's why you've got to get to, there's always another dimension or another timeline you've got to do this. It is the one you should be questioning. Watch it. Watch its thoughts and system. Watch it. Observe this so-called, the patterns, behavior, the thoughts, what it does. And not with any like interest as such. You're completely detached because you know it's an illusion. So when the body does something, you don't even respond to that because you don't, all of a sudden, you don't take ownership even what the body does because you know you're not the body in the first place. So if the body does something, it's not, oh my gosh, you shouldn't have done that, or you should have done that, or you should be nicer or better. And there's none of that. That's it. Always trying to blame you. Who's you? It's blaming the body. It's pretending it's a body, then it blames the body for everything. You did wrong. Woo. Yeah. There's no I. Yes. This body died too. And the body also saw it's itself. It makes an illusion. It makes itself, oh, after I die, you see, I'm going to carry on living. Anyway, there we are. All right. If you listen to enough of the non-duals, they'll explain exactly what it's doing. And when you've seen it, you'll be aware of it. When they say exactly it doesn't want to die. It has no intention. It tries to avoid it. And they explain very clearly how it tries to avoid its own dissolution. This has been seen. It's been experienced. As I say, it's a failed system. You're observing the cracks in the system. You're observing the games. You're observing the all the tricks and the things. When you pull up enough and you observe enough and you realize that you're not it, then you can start seeing what's going on here. So I just thought I'll share that. All right. So much love. Be observant. Detract from it. Okay. It'll always pin you as the doer and blame you for everything too. All right. So much love, peeps. Bye.